Okay, why don't we get started today? Just a quick announcement. Oops, I don't have this. Let me change this display setting. Okay. Just a quick announcement. It's advisement week, so hopefully you're figuring out what classes you want to take in the fall, and hopefully you're thinking of more computer classes uh, there. If you're not a computer major, if you don't have a computer major, advisor, and you're kind of interested in more computing courses or data courses, maybe a data analytics minor, maybe a computer CS minor, something like that, feel free to talk to me. I have advisement sessions that you can sign up for. Um, you can do either advisement or Zoom sessions. Zoom sessions tend to be in the evenings. So like, these are the Sunday evening ones. Advisement session, like tomorrow, all day long, are advisement sessions that are open that you can sign up for. So feel free to sign up for advisement this week or next week when you're even starting to register for classes. Today we're going to try to create some LangChain agent sort of stuff. Interested to see how it goes because again, this is always changing stuff. I've been working on this, get it all to work, so we'll see how it goes today. So we're going to go down to the learning activity and do that. Just a note on the project, I've decided to extend the project to next week because I really want to we're doing agents this week and next week. And for your project, I'd like you to pick what kind of agent you want to do. And so usually we do a project for units 9 and 10. And so we're going to we're going to extend that to unit 11. This will probably be the last project before the final project. So also next week we'll start talking about the final project and working on that somewhat. So okay, I do have a link here to this project, but it's not really active. I'll try to get it updated this weekend. So if you want, you can start on it with LangChain, and then we'll talk about more options next week that you can do with it there. So you can't see this yet, but I'll try to make it visible this weekend here.
So that probably just be next week.
Yeah. Oh, here, I'll just make it visible so you can at least see the due date. How about that? So it's not due until April 6th there. So. So we're going to do the learning activity, which is due on Sunday, and we're going to walk through that. So again, open up this notebook. You can make a copy of it here. And then again, there's the write-up that you can open up and make a copy of just like normal here. So we're going to be using LangChain as our interface to LLMs here and to kind of coordinate things, not for everything, but for some things. So we've got to do a bunch of installs here that are going to install a bunch of stuff here. And then we have to do our imports for this. So we're going to look at an example from a tutorial. I forget where I got here. It's based on this tutorial from this YouTube video from quite a while ago, although I've updated a number of times since then, but that's the basic idea. So we're just going to try to look at how you would chain together a set of prompts. And again, some of this will be using LangChain, some of it will just be using kind of Python sort of stuff here. So we're going to go through this. So we're going to start with an image and then generate a story from this image here. And we'll do that twice as kind of examples here. We'll do it separately first and just look at how you kind of do it separately. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take an image and write a caption about it. So we're going to import a model here that will do image captioning for us here. So we set up some code for that, and then we're going to call that on this image. And I'm just using an image from the St. Scholastica website because it's easy to access here for us. So we're just going to grab this image and use that. So again, I'm going to click on that. It's going to grab that image, send it to this image to text processor. It's actually using a model from Salesforce for this that's in the public domain. I think it's on, I don't know where it is exactly. It might be on Hugging Face, I think. So it gets our caption. It says it's 2 students studying in the library. That's not bad. That's not our library, but it could be a library there. So again, we got that caption here. And here we're just displaying the image so we can see it. Now we're going to set up our LLM and do that. Now, to access different LLMs, we're going to use what is called an API for that. And you generally need an API key to access that. So if I go to OpenAI API key, it wants me to sign in. So if I log in, I'm going to log in with my Google account here. And I can create API keys. Now, I think in general, you can't create API keys with a free account there. I don't know if you can try. Maybe you can now. Johnny, can you create an API key, does it say? Or do you have a paid account? Yeah, I like mine. I have one for like CIS 3105 or something, just the class name, something like that. Okay, good. Okay, so it looks like you might be able to create your own keys there. But again, I've created a key here. I created a number of keys. So you can create a secret key here. And then in our code, this will be our secret key. And again, you can just use my API key I've created for this class for here. Sometimes there's charges associated with the API key. So I've been doing this quite a bit. So I think, let's see. If I look at the charges on this, I've racked up 34 cents of charges for this and 50 cents in March already. So it's not, and I don't know if they're going to bill me or I assume I have a paid account. They have my credit card, so I assume they'll bill me at some point for this. So just be aware, sometimes when you use an API key, you'll get charges associated with that stuff. Okay. And again, in different places, you can have different keys. So like with Google Gemini, with DeepSeek. So if I go to DeepSeek API key, I can log in and get a key. It's gonna want me to get a key to access it. So yeah, it says you need an API key and you can apply for an API key here. I actually have an API key, but it is actually not going to work because I don't have any credit here. And what DeepSeek does is it's more of a European model where I can top up this. So I can put $10 on my credit and pay for that. And then I could use the API key would do. So you got to prepay with DeepSeek to use their API. So if I try to use the DeepSeek API right now, I don't have any credit. So I'll just say no funds available or something like that. So that's kind of how the API works. And again, we have APIs for API keys for lots of stuff. And again, a fair number of them, you have to pay a small amount to access that. I think a lot of them now are charging, they were charging so much for 1,000 tokens. Now they often quote as so much for 1,000,000 tokens that you send their way. So, although images and stuff like that get a little more expensive. Okay, so I have a Hugging Face API token. I have an OpenAI token. I have a DeepSeek token, which actually doesn't have any credit on it right now. I might try to fix that here. And so we set those up. And then we can define our different models here. Most of this is commented out because right now I'm just suggesting you probably just use the OpenAI model. So here's our OpenAI model we can use here that we can have access to for OpenAI. We define an LLM, a variable we store that in. I'm just calling it LLM here for that. Within like OpenAI, I can specify what model I'm going to use. Right now, we're using an older 3.5 turbo model here because it is basically free for us to use through the API there. Some of the newer models would charge us some more money. So for the class stuff, I'm just using this old model here. You can also set things like the temperature. And this is how creative it is. And we used to be able to kind of control this more at the interface level. There used to be a way to control this. And now you can just generally control it in the back end. You can also specify how many tokens, basically how many words you want returned if you want. And right now I have this set pretty low. And again, you can change this to bring in more tokens. So again, you kind of set up your API key up here and you define your language model. But again, you can basically leave this as is and it will just use OpenAI. So now we're going to, up here, we generated our image description here. We printed off that image description through our model, and our image description with 2 students studying in the library. So now we're going to try to generate a story from that stuff here. So we're going to so we have a function called generate story. And this is where we start seeing LangChain and what LangChain does. So in LangChain, you set a template up for your prompt. It's weird format. You have to include it in these triple quotes because it has this special notation inside here for it. So in order for that special notation to work, you need it in these special triple quotes. So just weird. So put it in triple quotes. So here, we're going to write a story. So I say, you are a storyteller. You get a scenario as input text and generate a short story out of that and your context. And here, now notice this is in these special braces. So that will be a parameter we substitute into this bigger prompt for this. And so we give that parameter a name. We're going to call it the scenario. And I could change this to whatever I want. I just have to use, if I change it, we have to set it up later on. So now I set that up. Now I create a prompt template from this template. And I specify the input. And again, if I have more than one, I specify those by input variable. So again, that has to match here. So then when I call this later on, I have to send it a scenario here. And then I set up my chain and create a story and return that. So now I have this generate story here. So I am passing into generate story the scenario and the large language model to use. So it will use the large language model here, and it will use the story or the scenario I pass in. It will use that or that. So now once I have that kind of created here, I can call it. So I have my image description above. I'm saving that as my scenario, and I'm saying generate a story with that image description and the LLM I defined up here, which is chat, open AI, I guess, chat GPT here. So if I run this and I run this, it should generate a story based off of that scenario. As Jane and Michael sat studying in the library, the quiet hum of academic focused around them, da, 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 da. Okay, this isn't a great thing because, I mean, again, we're just getting a short description from this stuff. And so this just says two students here, so we don't have gender quite right. Well, and stuff, we don't have that much, but then we generate a story from it. But that it works for this. Now we're going to convert that. Once we have this story, we have it stored in the story variable. We're going to convert it to audio. So again, we're going to use a text to speech thing, and we're going to create. I'm not going to rerun this right now. Oh, I think I can just play this.
Once upon a time, a quiet library filled with a set of old books and the soft rustling of pages. Coming two students sat at a wooden table. They were completely engrossed.
So I'm sorry, we don't have access to free versions of text to speech very well. There are better text to speech out there, but what I can get you access to free right now is limited. So it's not a great sounding text to speech stuff. But again, it shows the capability of this stuff. So that's our initial version of this. So in your write-up, you want to just describe in section one what is done. So describe what we're doing here. So what do we do? We take an image and we convert it to text. We create a caption for an image here. And again, we're using this Salesforce model for this here, and we're just generating that. So again, from this image, we're getting this caption here, and the caption here was two students studying in the library. If I run this again, I might get a slightly different caption. Two students studying in the library. It likes that one, I guess. So then we're setting up our LLM with our axis key here. And again, you can, if you want, use your own APIs and access keys. But again, this is already set up using mine, so you can just use these here. And we define a variable called LLM that we'll use later on. Again, we could call this variable anything. It's just this is whatever we call it. We'll have to use it later on here. And then we make a function to generate the story. We call that. We generate a short story about this from this picture caption, and then we convert that to audio here. In the second part of this, we're going to try to kind of chain this together a little easier. We've got some of these functions already defined, and we're going to try to bring it together a little more cleanly here. So here we're bringing the parts together. We're going to look at our image. again, I decided just to pull another image out. Not all images seem to work, and not all websites seem to work for this stuff. So if you're trying this on your own in part 3, just be aware that you might run into problems with certain types of images and stuff like that. So, or like this website here, this was I think the image in the original story. I notice when I go there, it wants to verify I'm human before it lets me in. And again, so that what that means, yeah, and what you see that on some site is that our non-human computer can't access that image because it doesn't it can't pass that make sure you're human check to get at that image here. So okay, so here's our image. We're just going to use this image to text to create our scenario, and we're going to print that scenario out. I should just delete some of this stuff here. Sorry that it's commented out. And so again, we're looking at this image and generating text from it. It says this is a robot sitting at a table with a cup of coffee. It really doesn't look like a robot sitting at a table drinking a cup of coffee to me, but that's the caption we got from it. Again, we don't have access to the best cutting edge text image capabilities at the free level here. Then we're going to generate a story. So we had our scenario here. We're going to pass our scenario to our generate story command with our LLM, and we're going to print out our story. So we run that, and here we get our story. Once upon a time, in a bustling little coffee shop, there was a particular site. Amongst the chatter of customers and clinking of mugs, a robot sat at a table. Da, 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 da. So, and we go through that, and then we can convert this to text and play. Oops, I don't think I've done that yet. Let's run this. So. I haven't got the new story in there, I guess. So. Oh, that seems like it's such a bad audio, text to audio example. But hey, we're just illustrating. The next thing we're going to do is in section 3, have you create your own chain of prompts, and we'll walk you through that a little bit. So you can go in and edit these prompts and stuff like that, and decide what you want to do. So like in the write-up, I want you to think of some task or assignment you want the LLM to do It would be good if it's something complicated enough so that you can't just do it in a single prompt here that you can do. So maybe a more complex assignment where you want to research something and then write something about that, and then revise the writing and update it or something like that. Do multiple steps. We're working mainly with text here. And so it helps if it's a task that you can do largely with text here. I will have give you access to a couple things. I have tools here. So we looked at getting a caption from text. I also have a routine here that will generate an image from text here. So this is a storybook image of a hippo playing hockey or something like that. So again, if you want, you can create an image here. I have another account on a place called Cloudflare that gives us access to some of these AI models there. So you can use that. I'll show you how to use that later on. It's best if you're using text. If it's text the LLM knows. So if it's stuff that's maybe not so current, things that maybe happened a while ago. So the LLM has trouble with like modern news, like this week's news, or like if you want to do something to summarize the March Madness games, that an LLM is not going to have access to that. One thing here I noticed, this is set up to run with a GPU and it doesn't need to. So I would suggest right away, I should have done this earlier, you should go to runtime, change the runtime type to just CPU, and then we'll rerun this. We don't need to run this on a GPU. Again, we're running some complicated things, but we're running those on other computers. So I'm going to do that. Now, when I do that, I'm probably going to have to reinstall, do section 0 again to do my imports over again. Now I'm going to jump down to 3. So again, you want to, for part 3, think of some task that you want to do. I'm going to do a sample task here. So my example that I'm going to do in class is, I grew up in the 80s. So I'm going to write a song about a song in the 80s here. So I'm going to first list off the top songs from the 1980s. And I'm going to pick one of those songs and determine the background or history of one of those songs. And then I'm going to write a new song lyric based on that background. So my 3 steps. Again, it's nice. It's old stuff from the 80s. LLMs know lots of things. It's old stuff. And again, it's multiple steps to do this. I'm going to get a list. I'm going to pick one of the songs and I'm going to write this out. I'm actually going to automate it, so it's always going to pick the same song and write this. But that's my task. So you should think of some similar task that you want to write. And then I'm going to leave these things here. And I'm just going to copy below, but you can just modify these prompts. So like step 3 point, I'm going to leave my LLM all alone because it's just using ChatGPT, and that's fine. And here, rather than editing this, because again, I want students to be able to see this, I'm going to copy it down here. And so what do I have to do? So my template is my code. And my first template, I'm not going to have any variables or anything in any parameters. So what do I want to type in? I'm just going to want to say So I want a list of the top songs in the 1980s. So provide me a list of the top 10 songs from 1980s. Okay, that sounds good. So that's my template. It has no input variables here. I'm feeding that prompt. I'm leaving this prompt number 1 and feeding that into my LLM chain. I'm feeding that prompt number 1 with my LLM that I have above and generating that results here. So let's see. Originally, I didn't know if I needed to ask it to number the results, but it looks like it's providing me numbered results here. So that looks good for this. So next, I'm going to do my next prompt. And in this prompt, I want to provide some information. That's what this brace is there. So I'm going to ask it, I'm going to give it this list, and I'm going to ask it to write about one song on the list. Let's just do, I don't want to do some, let's do like the 3rd most popular song on the list. So I'm going to say, review the list of songs below. Can you provide me some history of who wrote the 3rd song on the list? What is the story behind this song's creation? And then I'm going to provide a list of songs here as my one parameter. I'm not going to worry about the output here. And again, then one thing you have to do now, if we have to watch this parameter, I'm providing the song list here, and that has to match. So it has to match where it says custom information. I want to change that to song list. It has to be spelled exactly the same here. And then when I call it down here, that custom information is down here also. Song underscore list. In fact, since this is so common, if I click on this, it should highlight all the places in this code where that one thing is. So that means I have to, if I want to change this, I have to change it here and here. But what do I want to provide as the song list? I'm going to provide the results from up here, result 1. So down here, I'm just going to change this and put in, now result 1 shouldn't be in quotes because it's a variable. So I'm just going to provide result 1 here for this. And now if I run this, it should provide me a history. Sweet Child of Mine was written by Guns N' Roses members Axl/Z. The song was actually written as a particular exercise during a jam session, not initially intended to be a serious song. Axl started humming, It talks about this. The lyrics were inspired by Axl's girlfriend at the time, Erin. Every song came out, So that's the background of this song, supposedly. I don't know if that's true or not. And then I'm going to write a song based on that summary lyrics. So again, I'm going to take a breakdown, see. So it takes a little bit to do this, kind of weave these in and out so that you can try to use what we want to be using is generally the results. of our like first prompt somewhere in our second prompt. And that's where we see this. We save the results of the first prompt in results one, and then we pass that in here into our prompt. So it will fill in the song list here for us. So I'll pause this and see if you need help with things. I'm going to jump in and do the last step here. I've just copied it down here. So again, I created a list of 80 songs. I took that and put it into a prompt here where I said, provide me some history about who wrote the third song on the list, which is, in this case, A Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses. Now that I have that, I'm going to want to write a song about that song because I think that's going to make lots of money these days because, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to write a little prompt. I'm going to say, write song lyrics about the creation of the third song. So, I mean, I don't know if you use any of the auto-complete stuff, but it's really good here. Another thing you can keep in mind is if you get stuck here, you can bring Gemini up in this window, or if you get an error, you can ask Gemini to explain the error, and it can help you with some things here. So, okay. Write song lyrics about the same thing. Now, this one has two variables here. I don't necessarily need two variables. I need I want the song story is one of the variables. Well, it's probably the only one I want. So I'm going to have a song story or song history, maybe. And I'm going to refer to that up here. I'm going to also put in a genre just so I can have an example with two different variables so we can see how that works. So I'm going to then tell it, since I have the genre, write this song in and then I'm going to put in the genre here. And then I'm going to say I'd say in the country western style or something like that. So I put the genre here. And then here, and I'll say here is the song history. And I'm going to put in the song history there. And again, sometimes I like to put the output. The output is the lyrics of the new song about the third song. I'm just going to say lyrics of the third song. I'll leave all that stuff there. So now when I call this, again, my song here, I'm going to provide two things, the song history and the genre. So the song history is going to be from results 2. And the genre, I'm going to put some genre here. We obviously need a Broadway musical. I'd say we need a Broadway rap musical. Is that one? Sorry, I've been listening to too much Hamilton lately. Rap musical. And see, so if I have this set up right, if I click on genre, I should see that here, here, and here. If I see song history, I should see that here, here, and here. Song history, we're using the results, result 2 from up here. And the genre, I'm just putting in a genre here. So now I'm gonna run this, see what kind of lyrics I get. There's my lyrics about this song. Now you might be thinking, Tom said we could do an assignment. Can't we do the assignment, one of the assignments for this class? Because we have so much stuff every week. So can't we do this? Is anyone doing this one yet? This is my obvious first one. Can't we do this discussion post as this assignment? So I want an AI news article here. So again, this first one, I could probably do this one. And have it do this sort of stuff. So let's see if we can do, so this would be kind of my prompt here. Let's see if I can do that. So I'm going to do another example here while you're working. Okay, so for my first one, one of the things with the discussion posts is that I think you can do this all right in one chat GPT session, right? So I don't think I mean, if I just post that into chat GPT, do I really need do I even need anything other than that here? So again, it gives me a couple different ones to select from, but I could select one of these here. And I could redo that a little. Let's say I want to do a little bit harder one, and I want to do something that has AI news stuff. So I want to do something with the AI news and something from recent news articles. Now, one of our problems is that our LLMs generally don't have access to recent news. So a list of recent AI news related articles. So I'm going to say provide me a list of the top 10 AI news articles from the past month. Now let's do past week. Okay. Provide a date, summary, and link for each article. So I'm just going to try that first. And so this is what I get right now is I get articles from 2021 here because that's how old this AI is. Now, I'm also using an older AI here. If I scroll up, I'm using ChatGPT 3.5. So I might want to switch to a newer one. So I'm actually going to switch to ChatGPT 4 and try that out. I'm going to switch, I'm going to comment out this ChatGPT 3.5 and uncomment 4 and see how if 4 has access to newer stuff. So now I'm going to run this prompt again. So So, and it says, I'm sorry, I'm an AI model developed by OpenAI. I'm unable to browse the internet and provide real-time data. Therefore, I'm unable to provide news articles from the past week. So it's I can generate other ones, samples. So it just generates some sample ones here. But again, it doesn't have access to this. Now, to get access to some of these things, we need some tools here. So down below, I have some tools that we can use. Now, one of them is an image generator. So if you want to do image generation stuff, you have to do this import and run this function definition. And then you can just say, generate an image with some prompt, and it'll generate that image and display that image. But I don't want that. I'm going to do current news. And so I'm going to run this here. And this is a different news source. To get news source, we need to use, now, if I go to ChatGPT and I type in that prompt in ChatGPT, let's see, what was that prompt? Write me a list. If I go to ChatGPT and provide that prompt, I have to enable search here so that it can search the internet. And if I enable search, it can search the internet and then provide the newest articles from the internet if I have search. Now, in order to do that, I can't, this is relatively new, and LangChain, I haven't been able to figure out how to do that with LangChain. So I actually had to just go right into directly to OpenAI and do it. So this uses this ChatGPT 4.0 search preview model and uses that. But now I can get the news. So I'm actually going to steal this to do this assignment. This is an awful lot of work just to do this one assignment, it seems like, here. So I'm going to do some new code here. So find me, I'm going to paste my prompt in here. And the news results will be the results here. So I'm going to do that. Once I have that, I can do things like list out one of these. Now, I want, for the assignment, I'd like, it can be anything related to AI, but I'd like to find something related to agents. So maybe I'll tell, next thing I'll say, look through this list of articles. The following list of articles and select the one that has that focuses on that covers AI agents. And I'm going to say then, once you have selected an article, just provide the date and summary and link again. Okay, and then I'm going to provide the link list of articles here. So I need to put this down here. And now I'm going to provide this sort of news results in here. So I've got my article summary here, and I'm taking my news results and giving that as the article summary here. And hopefully this will then do it. Article list not defined. Yeah, I set this up wrong. There, okay. Let's try that. Something wrong. I'm just grabbing this old one and looking at it. See what I did wrong here. So input variables. Oh, that has to be in quotes. Okay. That's, yeah. Yeah, that's what I had over there. Okay, that's what I didn't see. Let's see if that'll work. Okay, then the last thing I'm gonna do in my chain here is I'm going to actually do our post. I'm gonna try to copy some things here and we're gonna post that in. So copy this code down here. So my template, I'm gonna say, make our discussion post for my class format should be um, So next week we'll be looking at doing this without so much coding, where we use more automated systems, because right now it's a fair amount of coding to try to chain these all together to make an agent. Next week we'll look at how to do this in a more automated fashion. We'll look at Crew AI, and then we'll look at some other non-coding solutions for that. And then for the project, you can create an agent in any of those areas. So if you get this done, this is all we're doing today. So. Okay, so stuff on here, and I'm recording this too, but so if we ran into a problem where we seem to have ran out of quota in OpenAI with this, and I'm not sure why. We were looking at that, and we used under $1, and I have a $20 budget, so I'm not sure why. But you can switch this to this large language model. Under Gemini, it was using Gemini Pro, which is old and not used anymore. So we want to replace it with this model here, Gemini 2-2.0-flash.light here, and then the API key. So I'm save that as LLM, or I'm calling it Gemini LLM here, and then I'm saving setting the LLM to that LLM here for that. Again, if you're doing this after class, this should be available here. And again, you could use either the Gemini one or the OpenAI one. And I'm going to redo this. So, so again, you should be able to run this. So if you want to use the Gemini one, have this code in place. Otherwise, if you want to use OpenAI, you should uncomment that and comment this out. And this would use OpenAI's model. And then again, it'll print out the LLM model down here. So again, I'm going to go back to use Gemini, and then I did that, and that should work out just fine here also. So, okay. Let me leave this up. Did you get that, Stefan? Good. Okay.